Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here at the channel. I'm so excited today because we're joined by my friend and colleague, Heather Wilson, who is the program director of the Sacramento branch of ATD, which is a learning and development association for people who work in learning like us. And we met when I was doing a presentation on strategic writing, and Heather is here to share her high value writing story because she's been super intentional and strategic with her communication and used a lot of the tools we talk about here on the channel. So we're going to get to hear all about what happened, what she was dealing with, and how she addressed it through writing and being intentional. So Heather, welcome to the channel.
Oh, thank you, Erin. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, great. We're so happy to have you. So let's start out. I know you consult with many people in the learning environment, and you're working with bosses and clients and learners and the whole mix.
Mhm.
What were some of the communication issues you were finding in your work as a consultant that kind of drove you to look for intentional communication strategies?
Yes, thank you. So one of the challenges that I noticed really in the last 3 years, as it's been really concentrated in working together with three different types of personas, if you will, or people. And what was happening is the communication that has been provided to me by these different subject matter experts like yourself and other wonderful people who are out there and specializing in different areas of leadership and development. The information would come to me, and I would then put it together and package it up and send it out really to the different clients that I service, mostly in the public sector here in Northern California.
Yeah.
And I was noticing it just there seemed to be a lot of barriers or non-responses or people with coming back with more questions and looking for more clarity. So what I found is after we met and sat down, I had that chance to really actually be in your session and your course. One of the key things that's really worked well is this two-part subject line where it has the topic and the action really just, and as short and concise as possible in that. That has definitely helped a lot of that the response rate, if you will. And
Right.
also too, it's given me a template to work within because there's so much information out there that is provided to me to be able to represent a lot of these amazing courses and sessions in leadership and development. And so, but it's been working. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, that's great. And you're making me think that for people who work as connectors in sales, and you're kind of matchmaking a client and a subject matter expert, so you're always dealing with multiple audiences,
Yeah.
right? And in my classes, people will kind of be like, well, what do I do when this person I'm writing to knows these things and this one doesn't? How do I make it different? And I'll just add your point about not getting responses is happening all over the place. That's like the number one complaint whenever I teach a class. They're like, people don't answer my emails, or they answer them later, or they answer them with a non-answer. Or like you said, the worst answer is like a phone call, right? Where now you
Right.
have to do a phone call and you thought you were done.
Right.
And so this two-part subject line, and if anybody is hoping to check that out, here's a link to that video. It's just what Heather said. You say 2 to 3 words on what is your topic and 2 to 3 words on what's the action required from the reader. This is one of the popular tools lately where people are saying, yeah, guess what? I'm getting answers to my emails now.
Mhm.
And so are you finding that it's effective in all these different groups, like clients, people in your classes or in the client classes and SMEs?
Yes, yes, thank you. Absolutely. And actually that's a great segue into another thing that I learned in your class, which is more about really thinking about the outcome that I'm
Mm.
looking for from these different groups, right? And so not only that two-part subject line, but also even if we could kind of dive into the content, a lot of times, I mean, email is my primary form of communication these days, and I think a lot of ours.
Yeah.
And what you had said about just really understanding and being conscious of your audience and which in my situation, it's nice because I can do some categorizing, if you will, to provide that real relevant information in that clear, concise way. And so I'm just, as I'm writing, I'm always thinking about what is that outcome that I'm looking for, and who it is that the types of words that I'm using. So there's that relevancy and that understanding that I'm not just an AI bot sending stuff out, right? But there's actual
Right.
genuine care coming through. And I still feel like I know that is actually still a very powerful way to communicate, again, across the different types of folks that I'm
Mhm.
working with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great instinct because I'm hearing in class all the time that people say, I can tell when it's bot speak,
Yeah.
right? I can tell people don't like feeling like the communication is generic. And so as you're using your strategies and ideas with these three groups, it sounds like you are not writing in the same way to all three groups. You're differentiating,
Right. Exactly.
you're
Oh,
individualizing your writing.
yeah, exactly. One
Yeah.
of those things too, you reminded me of, that's been working wonderfully lately, is as when I reach out to especially these people, the clients and the people that I'm caring for and nurturing these relationships with, I'm actually starting with this and it's kind of like a call to action, but I'm just starting with this question of like, do you feel like you're an advocate of this service?
Huh.
And it kind of puts it over to them to
Yeah.
even think about like, do I feel like I'm someone that supports the kind of work that maybe that Heather's doing and working together
Mhm.
with these different groups? And I'm so happy it's like a win-win situation because they're reflecting on, oh, I am supportive of this. And then I get that
Yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, this is such a positive reinforcement type of reach. So anyhow, I've been asking
Yeah.
about my like looking and having the conversations around advocacy, and that's been really helpful in communicating. Mhm.
Well, yeah, and I love how another thing you did is you made the message immediately relevant to the person.
Yeah.
It just came up in a class yesterday where we were looking at some examples of writing, and somebody said, I feel like this is goal-oriented writing, like you brought up, like you want to always be thinking about your goal. But the person said, I feel like this writing is all about your goals, the writer's goal, and it's not
Oh,
including me, the reader, at all. And
hmm,
we all know what it's like to get an email where someone's just describing what they do all the time, and it's not about us at all. And
right.
that's an easy mistake to make in outreach or sales, where it's like, hey, I have this service. Do you want it? No, we have to start with them. And so
Mhm.
you're immediately causing them to reflect on themselves before they even get into your message more.
Right,
That's
right.
a great idea.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it really does help continue that relationship and growing that clear communication between the two of
Mhm.
us on things that are really more important than, the day-to-day transactional type of work, which is really that
Yeah.
key to the work I do anyhow.
Well, because your work, like so much of people's work, is also relationship based. You
Yeah,
can't just write in a transactional way, like, do you
right.
have this? Yes. You're trying to create something where you all can go forward and collaborate as trusted partners.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like we're in that place where we're looking for more of those
Yes.
connections now than ever. So it's nice to have someone like you to provide these tools to keep it clear and concise too. And also too, one more thing I just wanted to add, Erin, that you've helped me with is after those conversations in my mind, what helps I guess with retention and of that conversation that I just had is doing a quick recap and summary again in that concise manner and way. And a lot of times I'll share it with who I just had the conversation with. And here's
Your
the thing.
notes.
Yeah, there are these AI note-taking tools that are available for, again, to help with connection and communication, and
Mhm.
they still have problems. They're
Yeah,
not
right.
perfect. And really, too, the purpose that I am using those tools for is just to again make sure that the communication is really clear and relevant and resonant with the people that I'm working together with.
That's right. You were telling me how the messages are not just the right tone for that person, but you've changed the content, you've changed the order, so it's immediately relevant per person,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because I always say, there is not one correct way to write. It's always based on the circumstance. It's based on who's reading it and what is your goal.
Mhm.
Like Heather was talking about, keeping in mind the outcome that we're trying to get. And I think you mentioned earlier, I want to ask because I really liked this, talking about, okay, you've got a call with a client, you follow it up, you send your notes, and you're finding that they are liking your messages. This is
Yes.
huge, right? So many people are just, I don't want to read an email no matter what, but you're getting the feedback that people actually are happy when they receive your messages. What is going into that? How are you managing to take a long conversation that could be paragraph after paragraph, but making it something a person wants to receive? How do you do
Right.
it?
That's hard, right? Because, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, and we change through the day by the minute, right? On our
yeah.
patience and attention to the level of detail that we live in. And so it's tricky. And it's not us, I have to be honest with you all, it's not a super high percentage that I get a response to. It's
Mm-hmm.
but I will, yesterday actually, I just got a response to an email, a summary that I put together 2 weeks ago on a call that I had then. And she took, and how I'm setting that up, by the way, to answer your question too, is really a lot of things that you'd mentioned in your course, which is that the bullets, listing out the bullets, and if there's like timelines or deadlines to make sure those are brought out first and who it is that's going to be taking that action. And again, the purpose. So a lot of times, like, and selfishly right now, a lot of these notes that I'll take with it's really to help keep me organized too on, oh yeah, I talked to Erin Lebrax about this. This was the reason why we got together. Here are the things that are coming up again. In fact, we have done this. That's why we're here
True.
today.
Yeah. It works to take
It
notes in a
works.
scannable
Totally.
way. Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's funny. But anyhow, so yeah, just those bullet items and seeing again and what those key components are to keep that momentum between us. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really been helpful. So thank you for that. And I'm always telling myself to shorten it because I
Oh,
talk
yeah.
a lot. And so, and I have a lot of things that I want to share, but again, with your guidance, it's your voices in the back of my mind while I'm writing these things and just, oh, keep it short to the point.
Right.
And it works nicely. Yeah. Thank you.
That is so true. I mean, I think I did a personal fail on that the other day where I sent out a new offer and my email was really long. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm kind of like, I should have just said, here's an idea. Do you want to talk about it?
There you go. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And if people are thinking, yeah, I get what you want to do is observe when you write long emails, how long does it take to get a response? When you make it brief, how long does it take? Right. And
Right.
if you want to
Exactly.
shorten it without losing the important stuff, I'll link here to the now, later, never process where you can manage what details you really do want to include right now so
Right.
that you can have that brevity, but make sure the important things are in there.
Oh, I'm gonna
Because,
go look
yeah,
at that one. I feel like
that's
I
what
need to look
gets
at
things
that.
read.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think people like Simon Sinek he's fantastic at that. His
Mhm.
posts are short and sweet and powerful too. So
Right,
yeah.
right to the point, relevant, concise, and then, yeah, using concision strategies by putting your meaning in the front of the sentence and things like that. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing about your experience. It was really inspiring to me when I heard you talk about how you're getting kind of more action and more trust at the same time through
Yes.
these writing strategies that you're just, you're doing it on purpose. You're being conscious about how you communicate with these people and you're getting results.
Yes, absolutely. I can't
Yeah.
thank you enough too, Erin. It's I'm learning to trust myself more too, which
Yeah.
I mean in all vulnerability, like it is such a an important practice to learn how to just continue to right because we want to communicate and follow up in the way that we put ourselves out there
Mhm.
and people want people to trust that we'll follow through with the things that we say and do and are.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank
and you're
you.
right. Yeah, because we're showing who we are through our writing now. I mean,
Right.
everyone has
Oh
people
my
they work
gosh.
with who they've never met. So we're creating that entire relationship through writing. So I'm so glad those strategies were working. Thank you for being here. And I know your work is expanding too. We've worked together in learning and development, but you're also helping people on the operational side, right? Tell us a little more about that before we go.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So that's the last 3 years have been really focused around this learning and development function within these businesses. And but now I'm starting to actually branch out and into more of this revenue operation space where in addition it really is focused on all the sales, the marketing, the customer experience, that flow of and this communication is the number one element of this too, is just being able to help small to medium businesses really at this point really earn more money and revenue with the resources that they have in place, including the people and their path and growth as well. So yeah,
A
it's
huge
it's really
resource.
exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I know a lot of companies are struggling with retention, so they need your strategies where it's kind of like how you're not going to spend more money. You're going to use the systems you already have, but in a more strategic way, which of course always includes strategic communication. And that's
Yes,
one of the ways we work together. So wonderful.
exactly. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. Everyone, if you have a question for Heather or for me, you can pop it in the comments and we'll get back to you. And thank you so much, Heather, for sharing your My High Value Writing story and for being here.
Yes, thank you, Erin.
Bye,
Thank you so much. Okay,
everyone. We'll talk soon.
bye-bye.
Bye.